Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you a little Dremel flex shaft rod and tube cutter I made a few years back. So it has a little gauge on it, hopefully it's visible, and so it doesn't accept the whole tool, right? That won't fit, no. What it does is you can take a Dremel flex shaft, which looks like this. So it's a smaller version of what you would normally use. Now, if you had a specific bigger set with more tools, then you probably already have it. So the little 3D printed mount is just screwed right into some kind of wooden board or whatever you want to use it with. And it basically consists of just two parts. I sent these with bolts attached and with the wood screws that you'll need. And the right way of putting it all on is when you have your flex shaft, you already put the top cover, but not the plastic cover on. So we'll leave it for later. And right, so what you do, you just put that on, put it through the ring to have it mounted. It's actually going to mount it oriented the other side to the other side because you can just mount it whichever way you need, whether it is this way or that way. It'll fit both ways, but this way it will be more visible for the sake of the video. Now, as you can see, the little plastic thread goes through the lever, and now you can mount the plastic cover not on top of it, just with your hand, just enough so that it doesn't fall off. Now, this is pretty solid because all it does is just, it consists of just two parts. So there isn't much play there, and hopefully it's all visible, but there isn't too much play there. Now, once the little flex shaft is oriented straight with the hole, as you can see, it doesn't wobble. It just stays where it should be. Now I just oriented it backwards. It really should be pointing the other way, and this way you'd be able to use the gauge properly. Now, if you're cutting something longer, it probably doesn't matter because you're just not going to use it anyway, but just so that it's clear and visible, what it does is you take one of those cutting discs, just mount it, and okay, lock it in place. Hopefully it'll attach itself properly. Not sure. Yeah, it seems to be attached. Now you could go, actually, now that I have it mounted, I realize I probably should have just rotated the whole thing around so it can be used both ways. Anyway, if the part I prepared is just a little bit short, so it would be awkward to use it. Now, I used it for some smaller parts in the past and I never had a problem. So as you can see, it's easy to assemble, easy to dismantle, quite fast and simple. What I found out just throughout the years is that things just become overcomplicated quickly. So you might end up having something which looks alright, but it doesn't work. I had the pleasure of buying an angle grinder and one of those attachments which allows you to make straight cuts. Now it looked perfect. just spotless really. And the problem I had was that it wasn't working. It just moved around, didn't where it wanted, and it wasn't perfect. So I wasn't very happy about it. Now there's a little cutout inside the material. The cutout is a bit wider because if you're cutting wood, for example, it will allow you to do that. But when you're assembling the part, you should just be careful so that you will miss all of the plastic parts and you won't damage them during your work. Now I'm just attach it all with my fingers. Don't want to completely switch it on because it will just be too loud. But what you do is there's this little V-shaped cutout here. The gauge is on top, so you can just slide it wherever you need, even measure it, or just the gauge is spaced with 5 and 10 mil, I can see, but the spacing is 5 and 10 mil. So it should cover some of the smaller parts, but if you have something larger, you'll have to mark it out anyway. As you can see, now it works quite simple. It is really sturdy and quite easy to use. Now this is all assembled, and pretty much once you attach your Dremel, it will be ready to work. But the one thing I wanted to point at is there's the cutout on one end is wider than the one on the other one end. So the V shape, which you can see right now, is exclusively for the material, so that it doesn't cause any issues during cutting. But the other end has a circular cutout, the one which is right next to the lever. As you can see, it's a fair bit wider, and because it is wider, the whole flex shaft fits inside. Now this should be plenty of clearance, and I know it is, to whatever you will work with. Now obviously this isn't going to, this is brand new, it's not going to look like that after the first use, but because the cutouts are all etched, they will still be visible, so you shouldn't have too many problems with it. Now I hope you liked it. I will add a link to my store in the description below, and see ya. Thank you for watching.